So I'm sitting here thinking about whether or not I'm more adventurous being abroad than I was in the States. I'm not sure. We'll see. You be the judge. And I think we have to really hone in on what we mean by adventurous because there's certain things that I just will not do. If you see me doing it, it might be a clone, it might be AI, it might be an act of God. I don't know because certain things I will not do. Okay. Scuba diving, um, the jumping out the plane, what's that? Skydiving. So like diving off a cliff. Like so a lot of diving just I'm realizing now is just off the off the table. Um hot air ballooning is just things where I could fall from a far distance and survival is unlikely, right? So those kind of things I'm not really a fan of. But I find adventure does not have to be like daredevil work. You don't have to be 5 million feet above the ground to be adventurous. I think being adventurous is like venturing out into something that is new for you, perhaps a bit uncomfortable for you, very unfamiliar and uncertain, right? That I would say is adventurous. And I'm feeling the spirit and the desire being abroad to want to do things that I haven't done and just try different things. Obviously, because there's so much newness, right? You want to try, you're like, okay, I'm in a new place. I get to see new beaches, new areas, try new things. And we haven't really been very touristy here. I think the spirit of adventure is upon me. And again, still there's certain things I wouldn't do. Like somebody was like, yeah, you need to head up Bocas del Toro. It's like being in the Caribbean. It's just like transported to another place. I'm here for it. I've had people who say you should go to San Blas. I'm actually the one who's down for that. My other family members are kind of like, I don't know, because it's a smaller, it's like an island. And they're like, how are we supposed to stay here? Like, what is this? And I asked a friend yesterday, I was like, who've been there, like, what do you do? And she was like, you're staying in kind of like a hut, yurt situation or on a boat. And I was like, oh, okay. So my family was right. It's not like you go and you book like you book certain accommodations. You're going to be in interesting accommodations. I'm actually down. I'm actually open. Sometimes I'm open to things that I'm nervous about taking Zen to because he's 3.5. But ultimately, I'm open. And I find myself being like, what can we do here? What can we get into? And I don't know that I had that spirit in its fullness in the States. And a lot of that could just be taking things for granted, right? Like, oh, you know, been there, done that, not a big deal, hustle bustle, living life, going through the motions just to find a little time for myself and find time for me and my spouse and find time to spend with my kids. That's not about the things that we have to do and it's not about the responsibility of it all, right? But one area in the States that I feel like I was definitely adventurous, okay, was camping. And you might be like, camping's not that adventurous because apparently everybody camps. I'm out here thousands of miles from where I was like just under a couple of months ago. People are like, yeah, when I go here, I do like to go camping. And I'm like, yeah. And then we went camping. I was like, is everybody camping? I didn't realize that it was like, I mean, this sounds so, I don't know why I'm saying this on public, in a public forum, because as I'm saying it, it sounds wild. Like, there's a lot of people camp that I come across. And I was just like, I didn't grow up with camping people, right? I never thought I would camp ever. I was like, nature, cool. Trees, grass, ocean, you know, breathing that fresh air. I'm here for it. But I was like, you just sleeping outside without my regularly scheduled amenities, like basic, what I feel basic, like where's my kitchen to cook my food, like indoor plumbing for my whole. So I'm like, how does that work? Like, if I'm not in a cabin, you know what I mean, and not like the kind of cabin where it's just walls, kinda structure. but you don't really have I mean, like a cabin with a full kitchen and like indoor bathrooms, private bathrooms, all of that. So I was like, I will never go camping. And I realize now I've also said a few things in this video that I would never do in terms of adventure. And perhaps one day my clone will skydive. I don't know. But my daughter is not, I'm a Bronx girl, concrete jungle, camping, who, where? Day camp, sure. Sleep there, no. My daughter was so into it. She is a Georgia girl, Southern girl. She loves being outdoors. She's hiking, she's climbing trees. The idea of camping really, really appeals to her. And we have beautiful opportunities to camp in community. And I found myself being like, okay, my daughter really wants to do this. And the first time I sent her camping, I was like, you go, girl, have a good time. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come see you, enjoy your time. And I did that. But then the next time I was like, I'm gonna go camping too. It was December, it was cold. In the nighttime, it was gonna get in the around the 30s, maybe even below. And I was like, "Oh, why am I doing this?" But it was my first experience camping. It was cold camping, and I really enjoyed it. And once I enjoyed that first experience, I was like, I would do it again. And I surprised myself because I went and tried something that was new to me, that was unfamiliar, and that felt like it was something I didn't do. And I shed that narrative and said, well, I guess I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it at least once and see what happens. And I've camped in a tent. I've camped in my car, had a minivan. I've car camped. I've camped in a tent several times, and I've never been in a yurt. You know, kind of. Well, that's not true. I had like I had a glamping tent where you still don't have a bathroom or anything, but there's like walls and a roof structure, you know, and a bed and that kind of thing. I have done that. I did that once with my daughter. Had an opportunity, but it always felt like an adventure going camping. And I found that I really loved it. I loved being out in nature. I loved the quiet of it. Now, granted, it wasn't primitive camping. Let me just put that. I wasn't backpacking. I didn't take a canoe to my, remote site. I was at a campsite. And so it is just like a slab of land where you put up your tent, or if you have an RV, I've never been in an RV, but you park your RV, you have like a spigot for water, and you have an outlet. You have an outlet for something you might need an outlet for, right? Um, and you have a fire pit at your campsite. So it was like that. But it was still adventurous for me because I was like, camping where, camping who, not me. And yet here we are. Several camping trips later. It became part of the routine of what I did with my daughter and even my whole family. We've gone camping a few times as a family, and we like it as a family too. There is something about being outdoors for several days at a time, breathing in that fresh air regularly, spending the majority of your time outside and cooking outside and eating outside and relaxing and walking and just being, just existing, because everything is stripped down and there's such simplicity in that. And in moving here and moving abroad, simplicity, stripping down was part of the program. It was part of what we wanted to do. And now I'm in a space where, like, how can I, what does being adventurous in that way look like? What are the unfamiliar things or the things that I'm a little uncomfortable with, a little uncertain, not like daredevilish, but just something different. And even like when I think about that island, San Blas, like we would have to be in kind of a hut situation or on a boat. I'm kind of down to try it at least one time. I'm down to try it one time. That's how I started camping. I'm like, I will try this once in the cold, which took a lot more prep work than when we've camped when it was warmer. Cold camping, in order to stay warm, in order to keep the tent warm, in order to not have our stuff freeze overnight. there was a lot of preparation, like how to dress, the layers you have to have, procedures you go through to make sure that you're not cold. Because I was like, look, if I'm cold, I'm leaving. I can't sleep and be cold. So I'm gonna get in my car and go if this doesn't work out. But it all worked out. It was very beautiful, obviously, and I kept doing it. But I find adventure being ignited here. And I'm having to pump my brakes because I'm like, girl, you've been here 7 weeks. It's still pretty new, y'all. It feels longer. It really feels longer. And if I had to take an educated guess as to why it feels longer, there's a level of comfort, there's a level of familiarity, which I've mentioned in a few videos, being in a city. So navigating a city is not new for us. My husband and I both are, grew up in New York City, Bronx and Brooklyn, public transportation, all of that's not new. Walking to stores, having convenience stores, which we call bodegas, it's not new. So there's that. And we've met people that we've been able to do things with fairly soon and fairly early on. And that has given us a sense of presence and a sense of belonging and a sense of community fairly early on, right? To not have even been here 2 months yet. So yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been a short period of time, but it has. And so I have to remind myself of that because I'm a little bit of an eager beaver and I'm like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to travel here. I want to see this. And it's like, I am not in a crunch time. And I have my friend, shout out Tima. I have a friend of mine who's like, girl, it'll happen. Relax. You just got there kind of thing. Like get your bearings, find your rhythm, find your flow. And it's always a good reminder because I have time. This is not a 2 week vacation where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to cram in all the things that I said I wanted to do in this 2 weeks. This is actually a time for me to exhale. It's actually a time for me to breathe and say, yes, I've written down these things that I want to do and that I want to try. And I have the opportunity to fold it into my life while I'm figuring out that rhythm and that flow on a day to day and weekly basis. Because then real things also have to happen that you don't think about on vacation or when you're on a resort. You've seen those memes where people are like, nobody talks about how hard it is to go from this, and they're like on a ship or on a vacation, and there's a buffet and there's just food laid out for them, to this. And then they're home looking at empty counters in their own kitchen because if you don't cook it, or buy it. You ain't eating it. Nobody's laying out food for you. And there is a difference between being on a resort and being in vacation mode in a place versus being here to live, right? Versus like I'm in the mix. Like I'm paying bills. We're cooking our own meals. We're going to the bank. I'm looking for a dentist. Like this is real life stuff. My kids are going to, their outdoor school to supplement, in addition to what we're doing homeschooling wise. And this is real life. And in the midst of that, what's beautiful for me right now is that we can fold in these adventures. And it's what we did in the States. But I think some of the spark was low. It was there, like, let's do this, let's try this, let's go here. But there were so many logistical factors that maybe prevented us from doing all the things and not even thinking about them. And so now we're up for the folding in to our lives, other things we want to try and do, and then pacing ourselves. Pacing ourselves because we have the time to do it. Inshallah, God willing, we have the time to do it. And so we can move in a way that feels comfortable and not out of desperation to see and try everything as soon as possible. But we'll see. We'll see what adventures await us, right? I think when you think about things that you want to do, oh, okay. Had a little shaky with the camera. I don't know if you guys saw that, but when you think about what things you want to do, what you want to try, sometimes it can be really simple. I just want to try something new. Sometimes it's like me. trying something new through the eyes of my child, through the lens of what my child finds interesting or what they like. Oh, I've never been to, an art gallery. I have, but let's say I haven't, right? I've never been to an art gallery. Your child's into art. You do that, right? Maybe you've never been to a car show. Your spouse is into car shows. Okay, I'm gonna go to a car show. So trying something new and being adventurous might be looking through the lens of your partner or your kids, or it might be something that somebody suggests to you that like never do that, but then you give it a try. And it's just, I guess this is just a reminder to ignite that spirit of adventure. If it's been going a little dim, this is, a reminder to reignite, to light it up a little bit, to shake things up, to try something that feels unfamiliar and uncertain, but also like you kind of always wanted to see what it was about. And I'm learning to do that. I'm learning to do that with less rigidity and less thinking about analysis or overthinking about why I shouldn't do it, why I can't do it, why it's not the right time. And instead of justifying not doing something, thinking about all the reasons why I should do it and I could do it. And that it'll be interesting, that it'll be this learning experience, that it'll just be an experience to have, a memory. Even though I just do it once. On my honeymoon, I went jet skiing. My honeymoon was many, many, many years ago. Okay, almost 20 at this point. Well, no, not really. 14, 15. Um, but I don't think I'll ever do that again. I don't think I'll ever do it again, but I did it once and I can say I went jet skiing. I thought like, oh, feel so safe on the back of this jet ski with my husband who's never ridden a jet ski. And he's just so excited now we're in the middle of the ocean. He went out far. He went out far. And later found out he was also nervous and kind of scared, but he was trying to stay calm for me because he knows that it's a bit of a nightmare for me to be in the middle of the ocean where I can't clearly see shore and land. Excuse me. No, thank you. Find the land and the shore. Where are we? Please make it stop. Like, that was so. The motorcycle of the ocean is not necessarily appealing to me, but I did try it. Okay, and and I lived to tell the tale and the story. The sharks didn't get me, or whatever is out there in the deep, deep ocean where I felt like we were. I'm probably being dramatic, but that's what it felt like. But yeah, so hopefully this is just that. Today it was just this is just a casual conversation. Um I'm tired. I'm tired and dragging today. But this is a commitment that I've made to myself first and foremost, a commitment that I've made to you. It's been really exciting to see what that commitment can look like in showing up every day and having something to say, or showing up even when I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, but I'm going to start talking and conversations happen organically. The hard part is usually that's because there's somebody else on the other end of the conversation that you're ping-ponging off. And on that note, if something ignited or resonated with you, let me know down in the comments so that we can continue the conversation. It can feel like more of a two-sided conversation. Um, what are some of the adventurous things that you've done on vacation? Right? If you on vacation or during traveling, because people try to say it's different. Like if you're traveling versus on vacation, vacation being you're on a resort, maybe it's all inclusive. You just want to chill. Somebody bring me my drink, bring me my food, and I'm dipping my feet in the pool. I'm sunbathing, glasses. I got my beach read, whatever floats your boat. Versus traveling, staying maybe in the heart of where the locals are and getting a place where you're going to be cooking your own meals and you're going to be washing your clothes and, you're going to have laundry and all those kinds of things. But whether it's vacation or traveling, or even if you are abroad or thinking about moving abroad, what are some of the things you want to do? What are some of the things you have done that felt at the time really adventurous, really like different? Maybe you've done some of the things that I'm too much of a scaredy cat to do, like hot air balloon or scuba diving, or the plane diving, or skydiving in the sky, or cliff diving, or base. No, base jumping is wild. Have you done? Okay, maybe somebody has done it. There's a theme to the things that I won't do. They're high, just yeah. But yeah, what are some of the things that you've done? Let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video, you want to hear more about the musings of what's being ignited and this shift and change in our lives of being abroad and how we're handling that, let me know down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Consider liking this video if you liked it, hitting like. And here, I'm Imani Aisha. We have conversations here in order to empower and to move us to have deeper and more feel good relationship with self and our partners so that we can just, yeah, feel good in the midst of all the change and challenges and transitions that we all go through. And that's the basis of what I want to share here on the channel, because change is inevitable, but how we rise to that occasion, how we handle it, how we move through it, that we have a lot of agency and a lot of choice in. So that floats your boat. If that is your vibe, please subscribe. I will see you tomorrow.